All right, you live. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, you live.
Alrighty. Pick that up. Boom. No, we'll just go with it. Alakam la shalom, y'all. Shalom, shalom. Shalom. Let me get my camera on. All right. Let's see. All right, shalom, y'all. Can y'all hear me? Yes, put a one in the chat if you can hear me. Two in the chat if you can't hear me. Oh, what's a lag? All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. I want to start off giving all praise, honor, and esteem to Yahuwah and Yahusha, our salvation, our honor, our power, our Redeemer, our everything. The reason why we are here, the reason why we have been chosen, the reason why our bloodlines have been redeemed. I also want to give a Amish Par Hudim to Chief Malek Yahusha, Chief Malek Musha, great honorable men, consistent men. I praise Yahuwah for those men, adding them to my life, adding me to their lives, bringing us into the covenant that, Yahuwah and Yahusha established with them. I praise the Most High for that. Praise the Most High for the Malka Oats, Malka Yada, Malka Kael, solid, just solid leaders. Kafel Hudim to them, Kafel Hudim to uh, the Alufims, the Kafel Hudim to Hagabir Malaka, Kafel Hudim to all the Mushal, Shalik, big bro, love you so much. Also, Hudim to, I ain't gonna say to myself, but Hudim to uh, Sargons, the Hadars, everybody in their respective places. And a salute to the house of Yasharel as well. But last but not least, to clear my throat, I do want to thank and praise and honor the Most High for my wonderful wife, Parah. We know as Parah. Some out there may know as her old classmates and people she grew up with may know as Sabrina. But we know as Parah, that fruitful vine of Yahuwah. I praise the Most High for her. 18 years of marriage, over 20 years friendship. Uh, she has been my everything, my backbone, the wind beneath my wings, my encourager, my supporter, my helpmeet, my completer, not my competitor. She doesn't compete with me. She allows me to flourish in my role, function, and position as I allow her to flourish in her role, function, and position. She is an aid to what Yahuwah has given me. She is the pusher of the vision that Yahuwah has given me. She is the connector of the house. She is that heart, that fruitful vine. She is that, like Psalms 128, excuse me, Psalms 28 says that the wife will be as a fruitful vine and the children as olive plants round about that table. So it's a lot when the heart is submitted to the head, but it's even greater when the head is discerning and cares about the heart, because that makes this thing work. It makes it a complete whole, a harmonious whole. And I've just seen her. I've seen my wife over the years be in some situation, overcome some things, fight through some things, suffer great losses, suffer great disappointments, those things. But I've always seen her keep her feet moving. She strives, she moves through a lot of things. Everyone in our household is blessed because of what she did, because of what she's doing. It's amazing how, and I'm just talking. This is why, this is what we do. We lift up our wives on this side, inside of Rebirth of a Nation, this eternal excellency. We lift up our wives because we know who they are. We know who they are to us. We know who they are for us. We know because they came out of us. And like the scripture says, you are responsible for everything that comes out of you as a man. So I'm just honored to be king, her ish. She acknowledges me as such, and I acknowledge her as my Isha, as my queen, because that's what she is. So even the children, you can look at a man that can teach the sons how to play ball, teach the daughters how to do things. As soon as a mic is in they face with an interview, yeah, what do you want to say? I want to thank mom. I love you, mama. Daddy, you taught me everything I know, but I love mama. I want to thank mama. That son and that daughter falls or something, they want to go to mom, especially them sons, because us as men, we're a little tougher. So we're like, hey man, shake that off. I tell my son all the time, yeah, that you fail, you hurt yourself, but I can guarantee you probably gonna fall a little harder later on in your life. And I begin to give him some of my testimonies of how you gotta, hey, some stuff you just gotta keep moving through, despite the pain, despite, you know, whatever you're feeling at the time. But that's the importance of being that man, because it teaches us those things in the midst of that two sides of the coin. You have to have that soft side, that nurturing side of mama, but you also have to have that hardship, that straight vision base of a man, where he's like, hey, you got to take a licking and keep on ticking. You got to keep moving, keep going, keep striving. But my wife, she is, and I praise the Most High because she is a duplication. She is a duplication of her ancestor. She is a duplication of Malkakaya. She is duplicating Malkayada. She is constantly every day working on some things to be a duplication. And as me, I'm trying to duplicate my chiefs as best as I can in every way that I can. And I praise the Most High for that. Just us being as a union, um, still loving on each other. She still got it. I still want it. I praise the Most High for that. That fire is not dying out that we have for one another. That love, and I pray that even when we out and about, people can see that. People can see that we like each other.
And we do.
And she said, "And we do." But we really like couples that, man, listen, y'all got to love endures, but like enjoys. I'm gonna say that again. Love endures, but like enjoys. I can love you from a distance and not want to be in your presence. I have family members I love, cousins, I love, but I can't enjoy their presence. But in a marriage, I love you so much that I'm willing to lay my life down for you, but I like you so much that I want to be around you. I want to be in your presence. I want to be able to sit down with you and laugh with you. I'm looking forward to the next time we get to go out on a date. The next time we get to sit down with each other and watch TV. The next time we get to play cards or play video, play a game with each other, because I like you. And I know when we're doing this, we are laughing, we are enjoying one another, we are building memories, and our children are able to see that. So, married couples, let that be your focus. You have to be able to like each other. That's your closest neighbor. You have to be able to love and like your neighbor. You know, I love spending time with the fellas and hanging out with the Muslim and hanging out with my chief. But if that woman say, "Hey, I want to spend some time with you," that's what it is. I remember there's a little testimony. Even our chief. I remember when him and Malcolm Kyle got together. They started dating, and he started getting real serious about it. And I started noticing his time with the fellas was dwindling down. We couldn't get him to go out to different places with us and do different things. He's like, "Yeah, me and Kyle, we hanging out. We spending time." At the time, you if you don't ever experience a relationship like that, you don't understand. But once you get into it, you're like, "I understand. I got you. I got you." But even in that, my wife still allows me to, if I need to get out and wind down and spend time and chill out, if I want to watch a game with the fellas or do this with the fellas, it's no problem. If she wants to go out with her girls and hang out, if she want to go thrift shopping, as she calls it, she want to go do that, it's no problem. It's no problem because we love each other and we like each other. We trust each other. So in marriage is please like fight with everything you can to never lose the friendship. Never lose that friendship. Even y'all that are not yet married, single. Hey, but the thing I look at is even if you're single, you shouldn't, excuse me, even if you're single, you shouldn't have the mindset of, "Man, I'm single. I ain't married. I ain't this, I ain't that." Because a lot of stuff Yahuwah is putting in us is to complete a work, is to bring fullness to a vision. It is. It's to be. I tell the men here, "Hey man, don't let one of these daughters down. These single men, don't let these daughters down, man. It's a daughter out there that's preparing herself and that needs you to get it together. Needs you to overcome. Needs you to be in a place to be that leader, to be that redeemer, where she can call you a Lua, where she can call you that, because it's a certain thing, it's a certain blessing that she gets for just submitting herself unto a righteous leader." But go through the process the right way so that you can be that to somebody else. Women, be a wife. Even if you ain't a wife, the scripture says a man that findeth a wife. He ain't say the man that findeth a woman that's becoming a wife. He said the man that findeth a wife findeth a through thing and obtain favor in the sight of Yahuwah. So already be working on those things like, hey, I need to learn how to cook. I need to be better at cleaning. I need to be better at organization. I need to be better at X, Y, and Z. I need to be teachable. I need to make sure I'm not wasting a lot of time, because we need that as men. We need everything that you bring to the table. And then once a man begins to understand that, because what Yahuwah's going to do, and it still leaves we can do everything with setting up, going through the process, but Yahuwah is still going to bring that woman to that man and say, "What you going to call her? What is she to you?" Notice that. Adam, molded, dust of the earth. Who breathed the breath of life into him. He got busy working in his assignment, in his purpose. He was like, you know what, man, it ain't good that you be alone. I'm gonna bring somebody that's gonna bring even a greater completion to your life. But watch this. After he told him this, put him in a deep sleep, took out a rib, formed woman. Adam had been naming animals and all this stuff, and got into the mode of being over and being ruler. But Yahuwah said, I'm gonna see what you gonna call this woman. I'm gonna see if you can recognize bone of your bone, flesh of your flesh. And he brought that woman to him. He's like, you know what? Hey, I'm gonna call her a woman. She bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. Now, if he would have been ignorant, stuck in himself, that's what some of us men do. We bring it, we have a woman, and we be like, man, she just what you calling her a beast, you calling her an animal, you treating her as such. You treating her wrong. You ain't concerned about her feelings, the way she feels, the way she thinks. You don't want to hear none of her ideas. You want to be a totalitarian inside of your relationship. You want to be a tyrant. You want to be a narcissist. You don't want to be told that you're wrong. And you miss out on the completion of yourself. And then watch how this works. Because if we don't get healed, we go to the next relationship and do the same thing. I love how Chief always says, raise your hand and say, I'm the problem. Because what Yahuwah's going to look at, even if you've been divorced and it wasn't your fault, I can probably guarantee you there's something you can find in that relationship that you probably could have did a little better. Not saying it would have changed the whole outcome of that relationship, but I'm saying you could have found a way to say, you know what? Maybe after I cooked up that 5-course meal, I shouldn't have slung it on the table like that. Maybe I shouldn't have looked at him like that when he said something I disagreed with. Maybe I shouldn't have made him feel that way or inferior. Or maybe I should have encouraged him a little bit more when he tried to establish a business or tried to fix the car, tried to fix the washing machine. Same thing, even with the men. Maybe you could have said, you know what? Maybe I could have been a better leader. Maybe I could have consistently prayed for her even more. Maybe I should have worked a little harder to put some spending money for her to the side where she can enjoy herself a little bit. Maybe I could have learned how to cook a little something. Maybe I could have changed some diapers, even though that stuff may make me gag or whatever. Maybe I could have said some days, you know what, baby, I'm going to get these children, take them to the park for a few hours. Even if it's $5, $10, hey, I know it ain't much right now. Let me give you this $5, $10. You go to the dollar store. Now you go anywhere outside that dollar store. I don't know how much you're gonna be able to do or accomplish. But at that dollar store, you can get you about 4, 5, 6 items. But we develop in a pattern. We develop in a way to show that we care, that we care about your well-being, that we care about your restoration, we care about your mind. A little bit goes a long way. Like you used to hear him say, a little bit goes a long way when placed in Yahuwah's hands. But that's real. When you give him the faith to sow into your wife or sow into a situation, he is going to do some things. He's either going to change the person or he's going to change the person. If you feel what I'm saying. And then you can see a lot of us that have been, a lot of the other, or us that have been remarried or married again. Now you're in a relationship where you're like, man, Now I have a person that appreciates my service, appreciates my sacrifice, appreciates my gratitude, appreciates the things that I do. And it has made it a lot easier. Because right now, you got to think it's easy to love somebody that's always meeting the condition. But some of us, he's put us in conditions where he made you work through some things, even when the person wasn't meeting the condition. He made you establish some things when the person wasn't meeting the condition. He set a pattern. He might even told you in prayer, hey, I want you to do this, this, and this, and this, and this. Establishing a pattern, even though he knew in the end it wasn't going to work out. That this person wasn't going to be receptive. That this person wasn't going to change. But what did that do? That sets you up because the next time you're like, oh, snap. This person accepts my service. This person really thinks I'm a queen. This person calls me beautiful. This person is always complimenting me, always reaching for me, always grabbing for me. Oh, this person still is consistent, even though I've had a baby, I've had 2 babies, 3 babies, but he still wants me. Even us men, hey, we got these dad bods, and, this the 6-pack that went to a family pack. Things are changing, but that woman is still loving all that man, still submitting to all that man, still desiring. My wife know, hey, I get up early and I try to stay up late, but once I hit that couch, a little bit older, I'm going to sleep.
It's over.
It's over. Whether I want to or not, I am going to sleep. It just happens. But she don't love me no less. She don't submit to me no less. She just knows, hey man, that brother tired. But then we still keep trying to work things. Hey, we're gonna try to watch this movie. We're gonna go out. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna love on one another. So now this is a part of redeeming the bloodline. Because now we're avenging what came before us, our ancestors' disobedience with obedience. Even your parents, you're avenging their disobedience with obedience. Some of our parents divorced. Some of our parents had children out of wedlock. And so now Yahuwah said, I'm going to wake you up, give you my mind. I'm going to give you my will. I'm going to give you law, statutes, and commandments. I'm going to give you my covenant. I'm going to give you all of this so that you can do things the right way. And it's not to do it from a prideful standpoint, but do it from the mindset of, man, when I'm loving you, I'm loving the generation that came before, and I'm loving the generation that's coming, 1,000 generation that comes after me. I'm doing this in the place when I'm loving my daughters and loving my sons. I'm showing them, hey, this is the way that they couldn't love you during slavery. This is the way they couldn't protect you during slavery. This is the way they couldn't beautify you or show you were beautiful during slavery. Some things they just weren't allowed. Some things had traveled down and now they just weren't taught. Women weren't taught some women weren't taught how to keep the hair done and keep yourself smelling right, or do all this stuff. But now we have that opportunity to flip it around and to establish a whole nother culture within the redeeming of our bloodline. But how can we do it when we haven't overcome the battle of self? Where we haven't dealt with the way we feel, our emotions, where we haven't learned how to love somebody through struggle, love through pain. We haven't overcome. And the scripture said, listen, the end result is built off of overcoming. Revelation talks about that he that overcometh, I will be his allure. So guess what? If you ain't overcoming, what is overcoming? Overcoming self, the way you feel, your emotions, the things that you dealt with, your struggles, the way that you overcome them, developing the disciplines. And in certain things, we still in certain areas we are winning, that we won and we've accomplished and planted a flag there. But then there's other areas that I'm not too strong in this area. Like I got to stay on myself and develop disciplines. And one thing that can help that, and you know how we do, y'all. We talk and we put ourselves out on the line. And one thing so before Pesach last year, I vowed to Yahuwah. I said, Yahuwah, I think this was around like December maybe. I said, I'm going to give you 40 pounds off of me by Pesach. I want to present this to you. And man, I went hard and did what I had to do. And it was down to that deadline because like a few days before, I think we cooked a bunch of killed some lambs at the assembly, and boy, we was grubbing. A couple days later, I seen that skit. I was like, "Oh snap!" Because I said I was gonna do this, or I had to cut off all my hair. I was gonna have no eyebrows, no facial hair, no hair on my head. But because Yahuwah was telling me, even if you look at salvation, I always look at salvation as original intent for an Israelite. What was the original intent for an Israelite? It wasn't to be sick, wasn't to be poor, wasn't not to have our own land, our own space, was not to be protected or be protectors. It wasn't not to develop like we were supposed to. It was to be fullness, have the totality of what he has given us in completion, manifested. So he was like, work out your own salvation. Some things you got to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. How now we can look at that as, oh, we got to do everything right. We gonna wind up in Sheol, which in a part can be that, but you have to look at it as a broader scale. How do I correct some of the things that I've been struggling with all my life? Some stuff you have to put pressure on yourself. Because if you get laxed on yourself, you go free. So I put that pressure on myself. And I learned that from my chief, Chief Moshe. Learned that from him. And so put that pressure on myself and man, went hard and Pesach. I remember waking up Pesach morning. And I was like, I'm 2 pounds under the limit. Yes. Hallelujah. But watch what happens after that, right? I'm at Pesach. I'm like, yeah, hallelujah. I did it. I did it. We here. It's possible. But then after Pesach, where's that pressure? Where's that next level of pressure? Because we think that because we won a battle, we won the war. But I sound like, bro, I got you. And then you go through some things happen, back issues. And then when you ain't doing that, then you don't have no pressure on yourself. You're like, man, I can't work out, I can't move. I'm gonna be grubbing. And you pick that weight back up because you got too laxed. You didn't put that pressure, you didn't keep the pressure on. You stopped believing. Stop believing. What happens when a person stops believing that fire is hot? Or whoever has worked a job that it's dangerous. They always tell you to check yourself, double check yourself. Or you hear people that build things, they say measure twice, cut once. But you get so relaxed, you be like, man, I got this, man. I ain't got to do all this. Come on. The next thing you know, oh man, I didn't burn myself. Oh man, I disrespected this fire. I disrespected, I'm a cook. I got a food business. So if I'm not careful with my measurements, if I'm not careful with the way I'm doing things, checking and double checking of what I have, then in the midst of food service and stuff, I'm forgetting stuff. I'm like, oh man, I did gave this person the wrong thing. I did this wrong. I added this. They said they didn't want it spicy, but somehow it's spicy. They said they wanted it spicy, but somehow it's not spicy at all. It's because we are losing the believability of the day to day. It's just believe. We just overcomplicate stuff when we say, hey, we just, Yahushua was doing all the miracles and had people following and doing different things. And, they yelled out, what can we do to work the works of Yahuwah? Oh, he didn't say, you know what you gotta do, man? You gotta, every morning you need to, drink you some herbal tea mixed with some ginseng and do several cartwheels and 7 Hail Marys and 5 Our Fathers. And now, he said, all you gotta do is believe. He said, just believe. Just believe. And what do you believe? Like, first thing you got to go back to original intent. How was it set up for us to live? After we have noticed something greater than ourselves and submitted to something greater than ourselves, don't you believe you can have those things that person that was greater than you has? Because at the end of the day, it's principles. At the end of the day, it's I am submitting to your process. I'm believing that what worked for you, if I put it in practice consistently, it can work for me. If I, Teqoa Gadon Imu now, right now, looked at Dwayne The Rock Johnson and say, bro, you buff, bro, you're looking through. Every day I'm gonna work out like you, I'm gonna eat like you, I'm gonna take the same vitamins you take, I'm gonna take the same supplements and everything that you take. Your water intake, I'm gonna do it like that. How you work out, I'm gonna do it like that. How you sleep, I'm gonna do it like that. If I'm operating in the principles, and one thing for a principle to operate, like you said, you have to notice first off that something is greater than yourself. Then you have to submit to the power of that thing. And then now, as our chief always teaches us, our chiefs teach us, now I can gain access. Next thing you know, I'm looking like Dwayne The Rock Johnson. That family pack that went down to a 6-pack. Breathing is better, sleeping is better, clothes fitting better. I ain't got to go to a whole separate store to find my size. Those are the things we just have to believe. What makes me think I could have a marriage? Have a successful marriage? Let me show you. Like, because the thing that throws us off in life, and we just talking, you all got me just talking. The things that throw us off in life is we learned under the wrong schoolmasters. Everything has been a schoolmaster to us. Like Chief talks about our culture, our environment, the way we came up was the wrong schoolmaster. So we walked away thinking that schoolmaster's way was the correct way. That's why when I was younger and my parents divorced, I didn't want nothing to do with no children. I didn't want anything to do with family. Because at the end of the day, I'm thinking to myself, man, this thing ain't gonna work. I don't want to go through the pain. I don't want anybody to feel the pain that I felt when I was a child when my parents divorced. I don't want to go through the pain of having my heart broken. Therefore, I ain't committing myself like that to nobody. And I did that. My wife was the first person I really committed myself to like that. It was around, you had little girlfriends, but it wasn't like nobody like I can't lose you. But learning under the wrong schoolmaster, learning under the wrong master, But watch this, when you see something that works, Yahuwah blessed me, the way he took me to meet Chief, I probably wouldn't have, y'all know my testimony on that. I probably wouldn't have chose that way. But I'm grateful because I saw something. I'm talking about the first day. First day I came over their house and I'm seeing like this husband and wife really like each other. He praising her and she praising him. They laughing. They got a special look. And I'm telling you. And once I saw that, I wanted to be around that. She would tell you, I was over their house about every single weekend. And these folks that had no cable. You couldn't cuss. Couldn't listen to rap music. Couldn't listen to R&B. Chief probably tell y'all his Pastor Troy story. His dad thought he was a real pastor. And he popped the CD in. But learning, I learned so much and I was like, man, I was just shown the wrong way. I was under the wrong school. I was under the wrong schoolmaster. But as I began to start seeing them and seeing Chief and learning from Chief and Malcolm's marriage and just learning and picking up these things, I started to believe like this is possible for me to have. It is possible to have a successful marriage, not a perfect marriage. But I heard a guy say that on the way to perfection, you find excellence. In pursuit of perfection, you hit excellence. And what is this? This is the eternal excellency where we pursue perfection. And with our pursuit of perfection, we hit excellence. And when we become a joy of many generations, we become repairs of the breach. We go back and redeem all these curses. All these curses. So in every area, and we learn, you Chief teaches us as well. We learn through pain. If we don't want to learn through the examples and the testimonies, and that pain is coming to be a teacher to us. Because some stuff has got to ignite us. Some stuff you can see in your life, but it has to be an igniter. What good is fuel without a spark? You got to have a spark, something to kick you in the gear. So some of the stuff we've been struggling at all our lives and falling short of, that we know we need to get right, that we know we need to correct, we need something to put us in a spot to do that, because Yahuwah needs us to do that. Our bloodline need us to do that. Our ancestors are saying, man, run, go, redeem. Redeem this bloodline. Avenge our disobedience with obedience. Even our own, we have to avenge our own disobedience with obedience. With swift obedience. And then at the end of the day, everybody and everything is blessed because of what we've done. Everybody is blessed by what we've dedicated ourselves to. Everybody's blessed by our pursuit of perfection. It's just like a captain of a team. The whole team was blessed to be around a Michael Jordan because of his pursuit of perfection. His pursuit of perfection changed everything. When he had to be a friend, he was a friend. When he had to be that kick in the backside for other people, he was that for other people. When it took that one person to stand up to a giant and say, hey, we can do this, he did that. And even if we pay close attention to our chiefs, they're doing the same thing. They're doing the same thing. When we need them to be fathers, they are being fathers. When we need them to be judges, they are being judges. When we need them to be to have patience, they have patience with us. When we need them to have compassion, they have compassion. Why? Because they want the whole team to win. But watch, it's just like sports, because in the midst of that team, you see people that will fall off by the wayside. You see people that were on that team one year, they're not on that team the next year. Something changed. Their practice changed. Their methods changed. Their drive, their desire has changed. But then you had others waiting in the wing that was like, man, I need this. This is exactly what I need. And they notice it and they thrive from it. And if you don't notice what you're following by now, then your best bet is just to bow out. We've been at this for years. We've been seeing the consistency of our Chiefs. We've seen it from every single angle. How they manage, how they steward over what Yahuwah has given them. And then to see the consistency, but then you get in your feelings and emotions and go against what you see. Because at the moment, they became what you needed, but you saw it as this ain't what I wanted. Every change, every revelation, everything they have done at that moment from what Yahuwah has given them is exactly what we have needed. I'm talking about we can see it from every angle was exactly what we needed. But then you had some that were just in and it's like, you know what? I don't I don't know about these leaders, man. I don't. When all along they've been showing you what they have been. They've been showing you who they are, showing you how sold out they have been. And then one thing I used to struggle with, it's better now. Because like Chief was saying, he was talking about it yesterday, is running from the calling of the ministry. Because I didn't want, you know, him seeing what his father went through, I seeing what his father went through. I was like, okay, man, you doing this ministry, you doing this. I believe in what you got. I believe you who's calling us to this. Just don't make me nothing. I'll play drums for you. I'm gonna be there. I'll be there supporting you. But then when the call of you is on your life, you don't have a choice. Because those that don't want it get it. And those that do desire it can't handle it. But we see the consistency of that. And it's hard to make an idol of a man that's always pointing you in a different direction. Think about it. Everybody that wants you to idolize them is always pointing you to them, to what they're doing, to what they got, to their power, to their anointing. But when you look at a man that's always directing you to Yahuwah, saying, obey Yahuwah, follow Yahuwah, what Yahuwah telling you, and expose themselves, their shortcomings and things that they may struggle with, those are the ones that you continue to follow. Because they are showing you the fullness of themselves for the most part. They are showing you, hey man, this is the stuff I struggle with. This is, and then you can't idolize somebody that's not afraid of losing people. Most people that want worship and stuff for themselves, they want as many people to themselves as they can. Because the more the merrier, the more the better for them. But she say, I ain't keeping you. They say I ain't forcing you here. That door swing both ways. That same door that you walked in is the same door you can leave out. But they have shown us, man, they have been showing us the way how to operate. They've been showing us how to be healed. Their whole ministry and desires to do the will of Yahuwah is to have us fully engulfed in Aruka, fully committed to Aruka, fully committed to being healed, fully committed to completing the vision, fulfilling the vision. For the wives, our Malchus, they are Titus 2 women that are teaching the younger women how to love their husbands, how to love their children, to be good keepers at home. Man, say you got to stay home, but your desire should be for your home. Your desire should be for your home to push forward, for your husband's vision to push forward. That should be your desire. That ain't saying you can't work and you can't, have jobs or even have businesses and different things of that nature. Because even the Proverbs 31 woman, she had a business. She was making sure that everything was taken care of in that household. So women, they have wonderful business. My wife, she has Selah Styles, and it thrives. She does very well at it. I push her. I'm her biggest cheerleader to do that. And I've learned that from being under the right school teachers, the right masters, the right leaders that won't nobody support my wife or cheer for my wife harder than I do. Same vice versa. But we have to believe that all this stuff is possible. Just believe. Believe, have the faith. Start using that emo now. Let your actions tell all. Let your actions speak louder than words. When you're believing for something, let all your actions show that you're believing for something. Wife, when you believe in that man to change and grow and be the leader that you need him to be, have those actions. Show him that you honor him. Show him that you need him. Show him that you love him. Show him that you desire to be with everything who calls him to be. Put him in a position to lead. Husbands, you believing for your wife to be fully submitted and fully, respectful of you. What are your actions? What kind of faith are you working? Are you calling her queen? Are you being sensitive to her emotions? Are you making attempts to spend time with her, to pour into her, to pray for her? Are you showing up when she needs you? Are you there? Are you that strong foundation? Are you that gibberim, that strong wall? Do you panic when she panics? When she said, "Baby, what we gonna do?" He's like, "Yeah, I was gonna ask you the same thing." No, even if you got to be like, "Hey, we gonna do something. I ain't got all the answers, but I'm gonna go get them. I ain't got a full plan, but I'm gonna go get it." There was several situations where my wife, she can say, "Hey, that man show up. He there. He's strong." One thing I've always been consistent in the way that I love her. I've been set on 70 from what I've learned from my schoolmasters. I've been set on 70 loving her.
Yes, he has.
I ain't never yelled at her. I ain't never put my hands on her. I ain't never disrespected her. Drink a little of this tea that she made. Mm-hmm. That good, yeah. Thank you, baby. But then that starts to yield the right fruit where your children can start seeing those things. Children can start noticing, okay, this is the way a marriage is supposed to be. This is the way a man's supposed to act. This way it's supposed to, a woman's supposed to act. This culture is trying to blur the lines, and we know that. That's why Israel is a world unto itself. That's why the eternal excellency is a world unto itself. Because everybody can't think like this. Everybody can't move like this. But I guarantee you, if everybody look at the teaching, look at all the stuff, look at the wisdom, and they submit themselves to it, it don't matter who you are. You can benefit from it if you submit to the wisdom of the word. Like our chief be saying, wisdom be in the street crying out like, hey, bro, aren't you tired? Aren't you tired? Listen to me. I know what's best for you. But we like, you know what, that just can't fit my program right now. And then we go through the same cycle over and over again. But we have to believe that these things will work. We have to believe that our life is not a mistake. We have to believe that one thing about, I believe it was the Shunammite woman that was believing Yahusha for a miracle for her daughter. She was begging, worshiping, asked her 3 times. And he gave her 3 qualified no's. He even called her a dog. Doggone it, called her a dog. But watch what she said, right? She said, even the dogs eat the crumbs that falls from the master's table. Because every crumb, watch this, every crumb has fullness. Watch this. Hallelujah. Every crumb has fullness. But a whole cake that loses a crumb is not full. I'm going to say that again. Told I you. If you're making a cake, everything is mixed together fully, it's baked. But if there's a crumb that falls off that cake, you can taste every ingredient in that crumb. But if one crumb falls off of that cake cannot be deemed as complete. It can't be deemed as full. But it's just a crumb. But you can look at that thing and say, that's not a complete cake. It's not complete. Somewhere there's a crumb that fell off somewhere. But if I follow the crumbs, because that's what we're getting. We're getting crumbs. We're getting crumbs from you. We're getting crumbs of the kingdom. But it's bringing us to a whole. It's bringing us to the wholeness. We follow in the breadcrumbs. But every piece is bigger. Every piece is like, man, it's like you can taste it. You can sense it. It's got to be more of this. You ever had that? You ever had your wife bring home or somebody bring home a piece of cake and they give you a piece of it? And it's so through you like, man, hey, wait a minute. Is there more from where this came? We've all have experienced that. We've drunk from that well. We took a sip from that well and we're like, wait a minute, oh, is there more? And then we find out that, wait, the best wine is at the end. Because the normal way of thinking is to give out your best first. And then as you go down, your wine, the best of your wine diminishes. But he started off with something that we can, man, just get a taste of this. Just let me give you, let me just show you, let me just show you a glimpse of what this could be. And then from that moment, it keeps you running, it keeps you going through all the ups and downs, through all the strife, the struggles, through all the battles, the hurtings, the disappointments. It keeps you going. What can keep a man going through that? You can look at Paul's testimony. Paul, the way Paul, he said he spoke as a fool. He was telling them all the stuff he'd been through, the beating that he took, that Yahushua took. I believe he said he took that 3 times. He was shipwrecked and he was stoned and left for dead. And what can make a man continue to move through all that? What makes a man keep going and keep striving and keep pushing after suffering losses? Even businessmen. You hear a businessman, they be like, man, I've tried 4 different things, man. Hey. Then my 5th thing popped off. Be like, well, what is it that kept you striving, kept you going? But it's just something that's in a man. It's something that's in a person when they've caught a glimpse, when they've got under the right schoolmaster, when they've caught a glimpse of what things could be. And then now that you get that one little morsel, that one little sip is enough to keep me going. And it's always like a promise of more. Because you would say, like, you like that? There's more where that came from. You got more? There's more of that? There's more of this living water I can have? There's more of this bread of life? Yeah, it's more. As long as you die to yourself, as long as you fight the battle of self, once you believe that flesh is an enmity, and once you begin to fight that battle, there is nothing that you can't have. I'm going to have you eating the through of the land. And then we grow and we start experiencing more. Start experiencing a whole lot more. A whole lot more. We start having visions. We start having encounters, visitations. With the more we start yielding ourselves. Because it gets sweeter, because it's going to be a time where we can speak to your thirst. Sometimes we may prophesy through the glass. We see and we prophesy through glass darkly. But there's going to be a time where now you can walk in such a place that I know once I speak to your thirst, you're going to change. Because all you needed was for somebody to address your thirst. That's all you needed. Like the woman said, come find this man. Come hear this man that has told me all about myself. He has spoke to my thirst. He has spoke to my insecurities. He didn't see for what I was trying to present him I was. He spoke directly to me and got my attention. Just like a legion. Brother Legion, well, you know, he had legions. I think his name might have been, we're just going to call him Leroy. Brother Leroy was terrorizing the town. And Brother Leroy just had, you know, had all these demons that was vexing him, causing him to go crazy at night. But a man showed up on the scene that spoke this thirst. And then he was like, hey, let me come with you. You've done this to you didn't gave me this drug that got me hooked. You didn't gave me this taste of this drug that I can't, man, I'm looking for the next relapse. I'm trying to relapse. I need this drug. I don't care if this drug is the death of me. I'm looking for the relapse. And Yahusha tells him, like, nah, man, you stay and get your testimony. You're gonna be better off giving your testimony than anything, because people are gonna be able to see. They're gonna be able to see the works of Yahuwah. But that's what has happened to us. In some areas, Yahuwah has given us, we speaking directly to somebody's thirst. I remember one night, you know, when I quote unquote got saved in the church, I was just, you know, we was gung ho, but we wanted everybody to have this. We wanted everybody to have this. And I remember being me and my sister Shakai, you know, I'm ironing my clothes, getting ready for Bible study. And she kept asking questions, and I was like, she is thirsting for something. It's like, I feel like I need to give her something. And I remember like it was yesterday. We was right there in the kitchen, talking, crying, sharing, exposing. And I was able to give her the drug that put hooks in me. And from that day, she ain't stopped. And I've been able to experience so much through her, so much of Yahusha's, the fullness of Yahusha through her, you know, because we hear things and then Yahuwah puts, a lot of us have been studying and different scriptures, but if you're not put in a situation, you're not able to experience that scripture. That scripture that talks about put on the garment of praise and lift the spirit of heaviness. Yahuwah dwells in the midst of praise. He inhabits the praises of his people. I remember when my wife and we lost our first child. And my sister, Shakai, she'd been singing her whole life. She used to get on our nerves when we was children, being in the bathroom for hours singing. But the time was just right. The atmosphere was just right for this little aggravating girl who used to be singing all the time to bring out water that will never thirst again. When we lost our baby, it was tough in the midst of it. And then her doing only what she knew to do, open her mouth and start singing. And that's the first time I really literally felt that heaviness just lift.
Mhm.
I'm talking about just be gone. And then I felt strong enough. I like now I can move forward in the next phase of what Yahuwah wants me to do in this situation. But if I would have never gave my sister water to drink, she would have never gave me water to drink. If I would have never accepted the crumb, I would have never got a taste of the cake. Some of us want the whole cake at the beginning of a thing, and it winds up killing you because now you disrespect the crumbs. Now you disrespect the people that are only getting crumbs in their moment and in their walk. I had a nephew that got, some of y'all know that he got gunned down a few years back. But I learned so much from him in the midst of being a drummer, being a musician. I remember we were at a music store, Center Stage in Atlanta. Yeah, Center Stage in Atlanta. No, not Center Stage. What's the name of that store? Guitar Center in Atlanta. And there was some dudes in there. They were shedding. Shedding is where just musicians just start playing and start showing their stuff. And man, these musicians, what I'm talking about, they was killing. And my nephew looked at me. He's like, "Uncle David, you gonna play with them?" I was like, "No, man, you hear them dudes? Well, they killing." But watch my nephew, who was satisfied with his crumb, who knew that he was looking at a whole cake. He got them sticks. He said, "Hey, y'all don't go nowhere. Get back on them drums." And he proceeded to fumble through a shed session with those guys. He began to play and play from his crumb. And watch this, the cake respected his crumb. The boldness and the confidence of that crumb. And one thing they were saying, like, man, you keep working, you're going to be somewhere. But it shows us that just believing, man, this crumb I'm getting, I'm going to operate in the fullness of it. I ain't got to have no position. I ain't got to be acknowledged. I ain't got to be praised. I ain't got to be head over a house. I ain't got to be none of this stuff. But for this daily bread, one thing I love about our leaders, man, is when somebody brings out something through, and this happened yesterday in Shabbat. Chief was doing a teaching. We all eating from Chief. I'm talking about eating. We eating, man. We are just devouring these crumbs that's dropping. Then Shalit starts to just expound. The next thing you know, Chief is sitting at attention, like receiving crumbs from Shalit. Like, man, that's the bread I needed. I thank you for that crumb, man. I needed that. I needed that crumb because that's a part of the cake. That crumb is a part of the cake that he did not have at the time. But what happens when a leader doesn't make it possible for somebody to express themselves from their crumb? Then things get choked out. People die. Somebody doesn't eat. But when you believe that your crumb is something, you'll bring everything you got. Nobody have to prompt you to praise. Nobody have to prompt you to declare. Nobody have to prompt you to show up. Nobody have to prompt you to be responsible. Nobody have to prompt you to repent, to expose yourself. You just automatically go because you know this is a part. This is a part of that cake. And I can't get to the cake without respecting the crumb. And that's what, even with parents, man, parents, we are trying to give our children crumbs because we know that the cake is real. From our vantage point, we know that the cake is real. We know that, man, if you get it right here at this lower level where these crumbs are being divvied out, you can have this whole cake and get it a lot faster than I got it without the hardships, without the setbacks, without the heartaches. Man, one thing that I love is I will be able to present my children as virgins in Yahushua's name for his mercy endure forever. They will be presented as virgins. They will be able to see their parents their whole life for as long as Yahushua gonna have us. Our whole life, we're gonna be examples to them. That they'll be able to see those things. That they'll operate in such faith and such power, such confidence, that I could speak to their dry area and watch them take off. One thing about me, people think I've been doing music my whole life. I just started when I got in this walk, believe it or not. The first time somebody ever heard me on a record was on Rise Up. Because really, two people spoke to my dry area. Chief had made the transition out of the church, working, and I was, I remember we had a conversation. I was like, man, thinking about, rapping and doing stuff. And Chief told me, he was like, look, you got it. All you got to do is open your mouth. And he gave an example of all he did was turn on the video when he started teaching. And there were so many dry areas that were out there, and he began to speak to their thirst. They began to receive crumbs and uproot and relocate their whole lives to establish the vision. And then my wife, I remember one day, I think I just got off work, was riding in the car. She was like, bro, you dope. Like, you got it. Walk like it. And since that day, like, you can't tell me that this ain't one of these areas I've been called to do. That this is an area that I've been called to be an impact, to set a standard, to even show the next generation, and even to go against the kingdom of musicians that are against Yahuwah. And you'll see me. I have that confidence, but it was through these little morsels, man. From that little morsel I picked up from this big head, my big head nephew at the time. We say he looked like Little Bill. And I just saw a confidence. I was like, I picked that up in that moment. That in the midst of accomplishing getting to a cake, that I'm steady in my morsel and my crumb. And I'm working from this area of this crumb. That's why this stuff is different than, you can't quote unquote age out of your assignment from Yahuwah or what he put in you. That's why hey, us older ones that's doing this music at our old age, y'all young ones that's coming up, we still gonna be able to do it. We're gonna get it's fine wine. The best wine is coming is at the end of the party. So we are coming, we are working in this thing because of believability, what we have believed. We have believed that Yahusha hung, bled, and died for us. We believe that he resurrected. We believe that he got the keys of death, hell, and the grave. We believe that he has made a covenant with our chiefs. We believe that we have been involved and brought into this covenant. We believe that salvation is to the Yahudim original intent. We believe that our words have effect. We believe that we can have successful marriages. We believe that we can have successful businesses. We believe that our children won't see this world, won't be affected by this world, will walk the straight line in this truth. We believe that we will have our own schools and developments. We believe that we'll be on the same land. We believe that we'll be raised up in 1,000 generations. We believe these things. That's why people look at us weird, because we believe. I say this a lot. You laugh at the one dancing when you can't hear the music. Think about it. Think about it. What if you just happen to walk into a club, or you walk where they was doing break dancing or something, and you just seen dudes just going in? I mean, people, you if you was to walk into a club and you see people just going in, you begin to just start cracking up like these people are crazy. These people are retarded. These people are special. They touched. But then somebody says, "Hey man, let me put these earphones on," and you begin to hear what they hear. Then now you pop locking. You like, I get it. I get it now. I see why Chiefs drive is the way it is. I see why Malchus drive is the way it is. Uh I see why the Mushalim's drive is the way it is. I see why the Abba my house drive is the way it is. The Amab my house drive the way it is. I see why Hagabir Malaka's drive is the way it is. It's because in that morsel, in that crumb, I begin to hear what they hear. I begin to hear that music, that ear for wisdom, that music of wisdom. I see what the disciples were hearing, or I hear what the disciples were hearing. I hear that bass line. I hear that beat. It's that constant beat in my heart that even if I wanted to do something else, I can't. Even if I felt like weak in the moment, like I couldn't accomplish, I'm still accomplishing. Because it's in those moments, it's in the crumb. It's in that crumb. It's in that crumb. So I just encourage y'all to believe above all. Just believe that it's possible. If you believe it's possible, that I can have what Yahuwah says I can have, I can be what Yahuwah says I can be, I can accomplish what Yahuwah says I can accomplish. I can be that honorable daughter, that honorable son. I can be that submitted vessel. Just believe. And I just want to thank our chiefs, man, Chief Yahusha, Chief Musha. Thank y'all for being examples for us. Thank y'all for always being consistent. Malka Kayel, Malka Yada, thank y'all so much for being everything that we need to see, everything that we need to experience. Even for y'all being touchable, showing that you're human, that you're concerned, that you laugh, that you cry, that some days you have to push through, some days you got to cry through, some days you got to praise and pray your way through. I appreciate the examples that y'all been. I pray this has been a blessing to the body. That's my whole desire, just to be a great support to the body, you know, and to my leaders, man. I appreciate, even seeing enough just to give me the opportunity to be able to do this, to be able to function in Yahuwah's body, in Yahusha's body. I appreciate that. But I love y'all. Lakam la shalom, for Yahusha's mercies. Yahuwah's mercies endure forever. We love y'all so much, and pray that y'all enjoy the rest of your day. All right, shalom, shalom.